Are you familiar with FASFA? Pre-application? This thing is federal student aid. Does anyone else think it's a joke? The thing is ridiculous. If you filled it out, that's great, isn't it? It's a good time. This form is, to me, upsets me. It's ridiculous. If you make over $100,000 adjusted gross income, and if you have over $50,000 of liquid assets, just don't even fill it out. Honestly, it's a waste of time. You really won't get much of anything. The only reason you have to fill this out is if you're going to get any student loans or you want to get any aid from the school or any institutional scholarships from the school, you have to fill it out. That's kind of the, the caveat there. Also know that the private institutions, they will have higher caps to what they will give you scholarships for. So that's one reason to fill that out. But at the end of the day, it's a frustrating form. What you really want to know is what can you do before you fill it out to put yourself in a good position to reduce the EFC or expected family contribution. That's not what probably anyone was talking about. You probably had the person that came in from the financial aid office and gave you the line by line how to fill out this form, which is awfully boring, horrible. But what you need to know is it looks at really the income and assets of the parents, income and assets of the student. Very simply. It's going to look at the parent's income on a heavy, heavy lens, and it's going to look at about 5% for your assets, just the assets you can touch. So minus anything that's in your home equity, minus anything in your retirement accounts. It won't look at that for what they expect you to pay for your student. So anything that you can touch, your bank accounts, checking savings, your CDs, money markets, things like that, your brokerage account, they're going to look at that and take basically 5% a year to be able to go to pay for the student's assets. For the student, it's going to take 20% of their assets and 50% of their income. So if Nana and Papa want to give that money for school, I would suggest they don't do that. I would suggest that they keep it and pay directly to the school off of the tuition, or they give that to them after you fill out the FAFSA, then it could go into their checking account. Because they're literally going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, cool, here, baby, 10 grand, give us, 2 grand of that to go for your school. Like, that was supposed to go for, me living for the next year. So, for parents, there's some cool things that you can do here. If you're a partner or you're someone that's going to be getting a bonus at the end of the year, ask your boss or ask the owner or your partner if you can carry that over to the following year, to January 1. Make sure that's going to hit you the next year, but at least it's going to save you the expected family contribution in that year. If you guys have any of your retirement accounts, your IRAs or 401ks, load them up. Load them up as much as you can because they'll get it out of the assets they're going to look at for your expected family contribution. And also, they don't look at your home equity. So if you have some liquid assets sitting around those accounts, you want to have a long play on it, I'll throw it into my home personally. And then they don't look at grandma and grandpa's stuff. So if they're going to pay a decent chunk to help out with the education, or if you really like grandma and grandpa and you wanted to give them a really big Christmas present, and they pay for your kids' education, hey, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm just saying that it would be outside of those liquid assets that they look at for the EFC. And really, quite honestly, I'm playing by the same rules that they are, because they don't tell you guys any of this stuff. And it really is ridiculous to me that you can have 2 families, let's say 2 of them both making $150,000, right? This family has $3 million of equity in their home and $1 million in their retirement accounts. This family doesn't have any equity in their home and has very little in their retirement accounts. They're both going to the USC, and they're both going to pay the same exact price, even if this family has $4 million net worth more than this family. That's how ridiculous this form is. So to me, I give you that information because they don't tell you the other flip side of that coin. And it's not, quite honestly, it's not equitable. Oh, look at that little, that's a pun. So, the FAFSA, what is it? It's a form, it's frustrating if you make over 100K adjusted gross income or more every year, and you have over $50,000 of liquid assets. You're probably not going to get much for it. You might get some institutional aid, especially at the higher priced private schools. Also know that the higher priced private schools may have something called the CSS profile. It's basically their way to go around this FAFSA and say, we actually want to look at your home equity. And you should be able to liquidate that and pay for your kids' tuition. So that's what will happen at some of the higher priced schools like the Cornells and Browns of the world. So just know if they ask you for that, they're going to be looking at your home equity. So that's that. Who qualifies? Everyone qualifies for this fun ride. Go ahead, fill it out. And you know that when you do fill it out, it's really good to fill it out and have it submitted January 1. Because like Katie said, with the applications being in the school, the FAFSA being done and submitted is a first come, first serve at a lot of universities because, again, they're a business. To them, they have X amount of seats that they want to fill. think about it more actually like an airplane flight, you know? Right away, if they can fill them all up, they would do it. For the schools, they will give out all their aid that they can because they get X amount of dollars and it's blocked. We have $155,000 scholarships, we have $207,000 scholarships, so on and so forth, and they give them out when it's gone, it's gone. And so those students that fit the parameters of GPA, SAT scores, etc., we're going to get it, even if other kids have better SAT scores and better grades, but they submitted their FAFSA 3 months later. Does that make sense? So it's a first come, first served thing.